Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Tillman, and I want to talk to you guys today about something I recently saw come across my feed. And that's the city of Berkeley that's actually doing away with police officers conducting traffic enforcement stops. Now, you might ask, why is that so crazy? Well, the reason it's crazy is because they're trying to steer towards a way where they have some non-law enforcement officials that are going to give people citations for whatever traffic violations that are out there. But one of the things we have to do first is we have to highlight why we do traffic stops. So why do we do traffic enforcement stops? We hope that it re-emphasizes better and safer driving for us on these streets. I.e., if I'm distracted while I'm driving and it causes a collision, well, not only is that dangerous for you, but it's dangerous for others on the road. If I enforce speeding on our roads, well, why is that important? Because it'll hopefully slow you down so that way it can prevent a collision involving you or somebody else. So that's why we do traffic enforcement stops. But there's also other reasons why we do it. We want to be proactive and try to get some of the drugs and guns off of our streets. Well, you might ask, well, how does that come by way of traffic enforcement stop? Well, I'll give you an example. There was a situation one time where I stopped somebody for no license plate. After stopping them, I pulled them over and lo and behold, I found out they had a loaded firearm in the front seat of their car. Well, where they were coming from was they were coming from a funeral of their friend that was just killed by gang violence. So they were now en route to go retaliate on behalf of their friend. Now, had I not conducted that traffic enforcement stop based off of a no front license plate, I never would have been able to remove the gun that would ultimately be used in some type of gang violence. Traffic enforcement stops have proven to be so important because it helps us get rid of a lot of the bad driving. It helps people slow down. It helps people get off of the phones. It helps people from driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, but it also allows us to take drugs and guns off of the street. So let's go back to Berkeley for a second, and now let's talk about what they're trying to do. Now, I understand the concept. They're saying that, hey, you know what? For far too long, we've given police officers too much power. And so now we're going to start trying to take away some of the things that they do. That's the thought process. Well, imagine this. Imagine they create this new safety position who their job is to go out there and give traffic tickets to. They go out there and they go and do a traffic stop on somebody who's not having a good day. Let's say they go and do a traffic stop on somebody who's just killed their wife and kids at home and now they're fleeing the scene. And what they think they're doing is they're doing a traffic stop on somebody just for a simple vehicle code violation because we've gotten rid of police. Well, that person that they do a traffic stop on is not having a good day. And so the moment he gets pulled over, he's obviously upset because now he thinks he's going to get a ticket for something. And that person gets out of his car and shoots at that guy that's doing traffic enforcement control. And now that traffic enforcement officer is now dead because somebody he did a traffic enforcement stop on for a vehicle code violation wasn't having it that day and felt that he wasn't going home. So you got to understand something is when we start putting people in positions to do jobs of the police officer without a safety net for them, what is it going to look like for us as civilians? What's it going to look like for them in that role? I can tell you now, just being a police officer for almost 7 years now, I would hate to go out and do traffic enforcement stops and not be able to have a way to defend myself if I do a traffic enforcement stop on the wrong person. We got to be able to rethink some of the structures that we're trying to put in place to combat police brutality. And why do I say combat police brutality? Does police brutality exist? Of course it does in certain aspects, but is it as polarized as what people are making it seem like it is? It's not. So we have to be careful on some of the measurements we're putting in place, and we got to be rational and think with common sense on what's going to be most effective for our communities. Is it important to move police officers in certain different positions so that way they can most effectively respond to calls for service? Absolutely. But does that mean that we get rid of them entirely into our traffic enforcement unit? Absolutely not. So just take some common sense approach when you come to thinking about certain things that we can change in our societies, and then that way you can start being a part of the solution as opposed to the problem. Thanks again, and God bless.